Hey, everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners, and I am joined by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal. Emily, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about, I want to know what is one key to creating a thriving team.
What is one key?
One key.
Out of all the keys,
one.
there's thousands of keys to a thriving team. I think the most important one, and the one that we start with when we start working with organizations, is helping everybody in the whole organization realize that they're all leaders.
Yeah.
That it is not based on title. It is not the person who owns the business or the organization. It is not the CEO. It's not the chief. It's not the city manager. It is everyone. We all lead.
All right, baseline, you are a leader. You start at that place.
You are a leader. And I think it's in a couple different ways. I think, first of all, we lead ourselves. And it's funny, as I'm breaking it down, I always start with like, okay, how many of you lead people? And, a handful of people raise their hands, and I say, okay, how many of you have people at home that you're responsible for? And a lot more people raise their hands. I say, okay, how many of you had to choose to get out of bed today? And then everybody raised their hand. Okay,
right.
So we're all leading, because just making that choice.
Yeah, what's your qualification of a leader?
Absolutely. Like, you can really get it down to that base level of, I decided to show up today. And so there is that starting level of we lead ourselves. And then there is we lead all the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in our organization, you lead me because we're beside each other, right? Which is, I don't think we think about it that a lot, but that's reality.
And that kind of goes maybe more into like, how did you show up, and what are you choosing to do to help the people around you? And
yes. Yeah, when you start with you lead yourself, really what we're saying is that you decide which version of you shows up every day.
Yeah.
And if you are showing up in a good way, you're going to lead the people around you in a good way. And if you're not, you're really not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think understanding that responsibility is a big piece of this, because when we take on leadership, we are now responsible. And I think that's the piece that's where we start to see organizations change, is when everybody takes responsibility. It is no longer Carl's fault that everything is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It is now my fault if things are terrible, because
right,
I
you
can
can't just start blaming
that.
it on everyone above you because they have the title and they're the leader.
Yes, no, it's that we can all do things. If I've got somebody above me that's screwing something up, my job is to lead up, which is incredibly hard to do.
Yeah.
But I think this is also where we see changes, is when the person at the top begins to build this culture out to say we're all leaders. Now we're all taking responsibility, and now we are hopefully giving them the tools and equipping them to lead up, because it doesn't come naturally, does it?
Right, not at all.
The times you've had to challenge me, that was probably not your most excited day on the earth,
I really think
right?
you have to change the narrative in your own head, because you're
Yes.
like, it came from, on high, and so now I have to just do whatever that was.
Agreed.
Instead of being like, okay, what could I say here to make this better in the future, or what can I say to fix this situation, and
Yes.
then kind of go from there. And that's how I at least work
Yeah.
through it. I have to think it through, like, if I don't say this, then what happens next time?
Yes.
And so I have to kind of like frame it for myself.
Yes, and we all have to kind of have that mindset of, I do have a responsibility here.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, like I said, leading up is not natural, and leading the people around us doesn't always feel natural. But when we see it that way, and we view it through kind of the lens of healthy leadership that we always bring to it, we talk about, if you're a healthy leader, you are spiritually, emotionally, and physically oriented towards health.
Right.
And you think about an entire organization of 300 people. Man, if we can get everybody there believing that they're a leader, and the majority of them every single day showing up as healthy, that starts to really transform
Right.
things.
Then that team is thriving.
That team can begin to really thrive, because then when I, as one of the high-level leaders, is having a rough time, if I'm not leading well, I'm not making the right choices, maybe I'm not coming across the way I want to, hopefully I have equipped the people around me and below me to come up and go, hey, help us understand this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a few times we talk about kind of empowering your team to have that responsibility.
Yes.
This is what that is,
Yeah.
right? You've empowered your team to say, you can challenge me.
Yeah.
And we can have that discussion. We can have, that agreement set up. We can have things where we can make those, we can cross that road when we get to
Yes.
it. We can have that discussion.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned agreements, because that really is a powerful piece of this,
Yeah.
is not just, hey, I'm going to tell you guys that we all lead, but that we are going to sit and we're going to agree on how we're going to do that.
Right.
When you need to challenge me, how are you going to challenge me? And we've got some episodes previously where we've talked about that, because setting up how the people can lead up is so powerful for them, because it just doesn't come naturally. So I think there's something to this. If I had to just choose one key, if we could get across to everyone the responsibility they bear as a leader, that starts to really change things.
Right.
And so I think I like that question. So if you're leading an organization at any level, you can take responsibility. You can have a positive impact, but it takes this realization. It doesn't matter what your title is. It does not matter what your business card says. Business cards are still a thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't matter what your business card says. We all lead, and we have that responsibility, and we have the ability to truly affect change and to lead up. And so if you're at a higher level, I would encourage you, build this into your culture. Encourage your people. Help them understand that they have the ability to lead. They have the responsibility to lead. That can get really exciting. All right, if people want to send us questions, Emily, where do they send those to?
To lab@forwardpartners.net.
Lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to follow us on the socials where you are putting out a tremendous amount of content around leadership, where do they follow us?
@forwardpartner.
@forwardpartner. We would love to get your questions. We would love to find out anything we can do to help you as we're kind of on this journey. Thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for podcasting. We're jumping back into a new session recording. Thank you, Ben, for producing and doing a phenomenal job. Thank you, Wilco Workspaces, for partnering with us on this. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.